smaller groups on campus that come to us and ask if we can contribute in any way to them going to certain conferences or to them participating in certain events. So once we determine whether or not it's a good idea for us to help them, or whether it's even something that's allowed in our policies, then we'll see maybe helping pay for their training or something similar. Yeah.
Which small groups have companies support?
The only one that I know of as of right now is a delegation of 6 students from the LGBTQ Resource Center that wants to go to a conference in Berkeley in May. The other ones I'll let you point to their small groups on campus.
So there's no names or no.
Not that I have right now.
You bring it up with the next.
Sure.
Thank you.
Any further questions? Yeah. No, sorry, we don't have our. I don't think we have our UCSA account on there because that one hasn't changed. These are only the ones that have experienced some sort of change in the past since the last report.
How many accounts are now on the
For sure one, I think at most two.
Question to the chair. The next budget report is week 3, right?
Yes.
Can I make a motion to agendize the office of the external vice president to come back in week 1 of the 3rd quarter to deliver a full and complete budget report with updates as to all of the information that is both missing and will be updated soon? Is that appropriate?
The bylaw states that they have to be on week 3 and week 7.
Does it restrict them to those weeks?
No.
I believe the Senate, if I can interject here, I believe the Senate does have the power to request additional budget reports. I'll go ahead and take a look, see if I can find it real quick.
Sure.
Okay. So in the bylaws, it states that the finance committee can request financial audits and documentation from the executive officer. If the finance committee so wishes to choose to do that.
Something you might bring up in committee.
Well, but can the Senate do it? Okay, so that's my motion. I want them to come back on week 1 and deliver a full budget report. Because waiting until week 3 for these updates is just, by then the quarter's over.
That 10 minutes is over. You still make a motion, but.
He seconded it.
No, I mean, it's moved and seconded. Are there any objections? Hearing seeing none, I guess I'll write that down somewhere. I will let them know that you want an update on week 1 instead of week. Okay. Thank you. Your time has expired. Yeah.
Point of information, I just messaged Robert regarding the issue that everyone's questioning as to why that line item keeps saying there's no description. It's the way that online accounting has been pulling. So I'm going to be emailing all of the executives for doing budget reports, and just so Senate knows that they will now need to go to Robert for your full report. So now you will get full description line items for every single item, so that if any questions come up, there should be no question that the reports will now be complete. So if you've not used online accounting for your budget report, that would be fantastic. That'll kind of help out this issue.
Thank you. We'll move on to the next item of the agenda. Budget, judicial or budget report. Sorry, it's in bold. I tried to change it, or not. I guess change that. But it like didn't go out of bold. I was like, yeah, I was like, you go ahead.
Hi everyone, I'm Michelle. I don't have much to report. There has no been changes. There has been no changes to the judicial board budget. Are there any questions?
So, I know that, I forget how much money, but I know the board does get money in their like contingency or things like that, and it's like $1,000. And I believe previously you said that, you don't know
if you guys are decrease in future? From
I
that?
could only make my own opinion, and we haven't touched about this as a group collectively. And any action we do take would have to be a collective action. That being said, I don't think they would be opposed to a decrease in the budget. I think it also depends on what we have planned for the future that we haven't discussed. It also depends on our incoming board members, so we're gonna have to incorporate budget costs for them.
Has there ever been a discussion about keeping the money budget?
We were planning a couple of training events that fell through because of timing, and we were not sure if we're gonna have any members, so we don't want to time it correctly now. I'm certain if there was concern about if we should, if you guys need us to increase our budget, just like, we're open to conversation about this, so, you know, we're pretty accessible, send us an email, knock on the door, no further than.
So, real quick, before I do it, Stephanie, it's okay if I show them their judicial boards, like through my access? Is it okay if I pull that up for them?
For their budget.
Yeah. Okay. Just want to make sure I'm not breaking any. So as you can see, this is their,
Wall.
there has been no update, and the only one, and they reported it last time, was the gavel store purchase, 5 gavels. Other than that, there's been, if you could see the dates, there has been no updates. Are there any questions? Sure.
I probably should have asked this last time, but what was the need for like 5 gavels?
That's a great question. They are important purchases for the communal bonding of our branch, and we found necessary in case there was an appearance coming in the future. I'm certain if we have any more questions, I can have continue.
I was just wondering because even we have like 30 people instead of and we only have 1 gavel, so yeah.
I may. We also have different branches that have different purchases for their branch. You know, it's a memento, it's part of the communal bonding that we share in ASUCI. It's kind of our version of a jacket or a, I don't know, office decoration, you know?
About the gavel, I just wanted to, I heard that they were all engraved as well,
They were,
but with their names on it.
yes.
Y'all want gavels? Is that? Y'all jealous or what's up?
You can give us some, so.
When they can pass me all.
People buy t-shirts. You know what that's about?
You recognize me, right?
Yes.
You spoke of trainings. Can you talk about what contextually these trainings would be aimed at developing within the court justices?
We have not had further discussion on what on any pragmatic, I guess. We haven't made plans yet, to be honest, and then, so to speak. If I were to predict we could do it, we could perhaps reach out to the law school nearby, you know, UCI law. I'm not certain. It's not a plan we have strictly made, or we don't have any plans or contact details for me to provide.
Okay. Excuse me?
I have a follow-up.
Go for it.
You discussed that you were planning trainings though. What were those
That's what
trainings?
we're considering.
What were you
We were
considering?
planning. We were considering to have, I don't know, perhaps we were gonna just, I don't know, talk to the law school. I can't be certain of what the entire board has, I don't know, considered, you know?
Yeah, I have another concern about the gavel. Yeah, as we are probably all aware, some justices resign, right?
We haven't had any reservations.
Oh, okay, just making sure.
Someone graduated.
Oh, so one of the people who graduated also got a gavel.
Well, the purchase was made, I think this was a question before. The purchase was made before he graduated. Like, that's the way the work order went.
Okay.
So if he was a justice when the work order went through, and then by the time it got to them, you know.
Okay.
Yeah. Are there any more questions, concerns? Seeing none, thank you for your report. We'll move on to the next item of the agenda. Cool Campus Climate Challenge.
Hey everyone.
year master's student in public health, and I'm also one of the carbon neutrality initiative fellows. So if you don't know what that is, basically all the UCs are planning to become carbon neutral by the year 2025. And to do that, each campus has their own programs and projects to like move forward towards carbon neutrality. So what I'm talking about specifically today is the Cold Campus Challenge. This is the second time this challenge has ever happened. The first time it was in 2014. It's basically a UC-wide competition, so between all 10 campuses, where students can make pledges to like reduce their carbon footprint through doing different activities such as like having one vegetarian meal or like switching kind of plastic bottles to reusable bottles, so simple things like that, and then also taking the time to like educate themselves about climate change and how they can like pretty much reduce carbon emissions. So UCI actually won the challenge back in 2014. So we really want to win again. What I'm here for you guys is basically you can participate in the challenge as an individual, but also as an organization. So I think ASUCI, when it happened in 2014, was one of the high like point earners among all the organizations at UCI. So it's not happening yet, obviously, but it will start on April 1st. And last the whole month. It's a little different from last time because in 2014 it was all of spring quarter, but now UCOP has decided to make it just 1 month. So me and the team at the Global Sustainability Resource Center are going to be heavily promoting the event when it's actually happening, have different events going on campus, and have a big social media presence to ideally reach out to students and get them involved. When the challenge actually begins, students can download an app and be able to sign up online, and they'll pretty much just log their pledges online and rack up points. So does anyone have any questions so far? No? Oh, yeah?
What kind of events are you planning?
So currently we're working with UCI Dining because they already do a lot of the work that this challenge is trying to promote. So they have different things like waste audits and events to teach them how to like sort their waste after they're done eating. So we'll basically be tabling at those, and we'll be distributing merchandise. There will be a lot of raffles for gift cards and major prizes and whatnot. So mostly tabling. We don't want to create our own events mostly. We want to just kind of integrate into any other events that already happen on campus because it is such a short time frame to like plan a whole event, you know. And then, sorry, another point I wanted to bring up was there are going to be prizes for the top 3 scoring students and top 3 scoring organizations, and those will be basically like gift cards or funding. If your club won, we'll give them a couple $100 for funding for an event. So yeah, does that answer? Yeah.
How long is it going to last?
It's 1 month, so it starts on April 1st, and then it goes through a whole month.
So when you say organization, what constitutes? So this is like the Senate. Would it be like
Yeah.
the Senate, or does it have to be API and whole?
So I mean, when you go, say the challenge starts and you create your profile, you all can compete as like the ASUCI Senate if you want. You can like decide amongst yourselves what you want to register as. But yeah, it can basically be any like professional type of organization or student led one.
Sorry, that was another report.
Oh.
So what is the challenge for this year?
So it's basically a series of pledges that the students can make. So some of them are small scale ones where it's like, I pledge to unplug my phone for like this much time or like not use as much electricity for my chargers. Some are more large scale where it's like, I'm gonna be vegetarian for a whole week, or I'm gonna like donate, like recycle my clothes or repurpose something. So basically when the challenge begins, students can like make their profile and they'll see all the different pledges they can make. There's gonna be like an honor system sort of, because in the past challenge, campuses were trying to win by just getting students to make pledges without actually fulfilling them. So some of them you can't really just like, you know, score a bunch of points at once. They'll have to be like a realistic timeline, because some may take longer to actually execute than others.
And I know you mentioned like using like angry or like dining halls and
Yeah.
like sustainability, but how about for people who don't go to the dining hall? How would you guys like contact them other than like, social media? Like, do you guys have like a booth outside or?
Yeah, so
how's it gonna happen?
the first week of the challenge, April 1st, we're gonna be out on the terrace for at least 2 days. We'll have like pretty much the like tablets available for students that can sign up. We've got a bunch of like shirts and other merchandise for Cool Campus Shop specifically, where we'll just give it out if you sign up. So we're gonna have like bags, shirts, stickers, you know, that kind of thing. My role as like the student engagement fellow is to like reach out to students who may not be as easily accessible. So since I'm also in grad school, I'm gonna try and involve the grad population more through like my networks there.
Senator Bondi, you have a question? Are there any more questions for the presenter?
Can I ask a question to the president?
Sure.
So if someone made a legislation that the ACCI Senate will take part in the Cool Campus Challenge and will like do a pledge or whatever, like would that be?
Yeah, I mean, resolutions and legislation could be anything,
Okay.
but it's just up to the Senate whether they want to pass it.
I'd just like to add, I know you all are probably involved in other organizations too, so definitely feel free to relay this information to them. I'd be happy to come speak at one of the general meetings, or just, we're currently making promotional materials, so I can share those so that you can share them with your own folks too. Yeah,
I think I
I
did
really
see,
wanna win again.
I think I did see a legislation. I was looking through the old legislative council. I think in 2014, I think I saw one
For Cool Campus.
for Cool Campus kind of. Yeah, I'll look at it again. It was in the 2014 one. Yeah. Sean?
Would you be able to give your contact information?
Yes, do you want me to send it to you, or do you want me to just write it somewhere?
If you send it to me, I'll forward it to all of their emails.
Oh, okay, great. Yeah, so I'll give him my email, my phone number, but I'll respond to email.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
definitely contact me, and then, if you ever wanna come talk, I'm always at the Global Sustainability Research Center, so it's on the 4th floor of this building, Thursdays and Fridays, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there any more?
2014, so it's gonna be, they've done a whole, remodel of the competition since then, that's why it hasn't happened since then. Yes. So I don't think they can. I was.
What were the 2 dates you said you were going to be competing?
We haven't decided yet. My supervisor's just gonna be trying to book those days, but it's gonna be within the first week of April.
Okay.
Anything else? Okay,
Seeing none, thank you very much.
thank you. Have a good evening.
So I'd just like to make a really quick comment real quick. Julie actually sent me an email, and if you have like someone who would like to present to the Senate and you'd like them to be on the agenda, absolutely send me an email. And if I think it's pertinent with the entire Senate, I'll put it on the agenda for you. So just for future reference, if all of you are part of an organization or something you want them to present at all of us, I'm happy to do that. Moving on to the next item of the agenda, Retro Local Studio Martinez Lee Salvar Tuni and G. I said that wrong. Oh, he keeps teaching me, and I say it wrong. R5463 dismissal of an art center. Would the author please give a reading?
Whereas Lincoln Nelson was appointed to the position of Arts Senator, whereas they have subsequently failed to attend more than 3 regular meetings of the Senate this quarter and have failed to provide valid excuses for aforementioned absences. Whereas Article 6, Section F, subsection 3 of the ASUCI bylaws states that any senator with 3 unexcused absences per quarter at regular Senate meeting shall be eligible for dismissal from the Senate by legislation from the Rules Committee. Therefore, let it be resolved that Senator Lincoln Nelson be dismissed from the position of Arts Senator and the seat declared vacant.
I will now open this item up for discussion. Are there any questions, concerns? Senator Russell.
So, so does he have a class at this time, or what was like the exact reason for him to be here?
So he has a discussion section at this time.
Oh, okay, and it's both two days?
I believe so, but, yeah.
Wait, he has a discussion section 2 times a week?
That's what I was told. Is that
It
he
was a
math class.
He has a class, yeah.
Yeah.
You have quizzes.
And the art center?
Just saying.
Are there any other questions?
Was he notified of said legislation to dismiss him and given an opportunity to make his case to the Rules Committee when?
He was contacted, as all senators are, when they hit the 3 absence threshold, and that is when he told us that his reason was a discussion section, and then I notified him that it was not an excused it was not a valid excuse and we would have to move forward with dismissal.
Yeah, last quarter we, made a stricter, attendance policy. We basically modeled it after the one that's actually constitutionally written inside of the attendance policy of Berkeley, if I'm not correct, if I'm not mistaken. So this one's a bylaw, and I want to reiterate this, if y'all don't like it, if you want to tweak some of it, you can do so.
So I know it took us like 5 to 6 weeks to find an arts senator, so I don't know if this is like beneficial to dismiss the arts senator, if it's like class-wise, like conflict, and maybe like next quarter he like plans accordingly.
I'm gonna let the author reply.
So in regards to that, I don't think we should be making our decision based on how much time it will take to fill this seat, because we likely will get applicants for the seat, and even so, when we accepted this individual into a Senate, they knew that they were going to have to be here and represent their students, and they knew full well there was an attendance policy, and it's their job to be here and represent their students. When they're missing a Senate and they're not representing their students, the art students here at UCI don't have a voice in the Senate. And so it does us no good to have a senator who is not here and present.
Any other questions, concerns? Yes, Julie?
Are we still gonna put out, when are we gonna put out the senator application?
So the application to fill this seat would open the day that this legislation is passed, and it would be open for a week.
Actually, that's not entirely true, if I'm correct. Is it, don't we just impeach, not dismiss? I think the J board has to actually dismiss the senator. They can appeal it, it's in the bylaw. As, we basically, this is an impeachment, it goes to the J board, if the J board ratifies it, then they're dismissed, if I'm not mistaken.
This is a dismissal, not an impeachment. Those are two separate procedures. So while it would need to be confirmed by the judicial board, we would open it up the day that it is passed.
Senator, I'm acting as a member of the general public, can the senator please explain the power that gives the Senate the right to dismiss the senator?
I'm sorry, can you repeat?
I think you mentioned that you guys have a right to dismiss senators, can you please expand on that?
Yeah, so Article 6, Section F, subsection 3 of the bylaws states that any senator with 3 unexcused absences per quarter at regular Senate meetings shall be eligible for dismissal from the Senate by legislation from the Rules Committee.
I guess it is different than an impeachment. Impeachment would be up to ODQ and actually in the Senate's power. Oh, yeah. I just remembered.
I remember, I asked about it.
Sure.
I remember that a few weeks ago, we wrote a similar legislation to dismiss the former transfer senator. So why did that legislation, if you're trying to enforce like the bylaws, why did that legislation fail?
So it failed in committee. I'm just going to state for the record that I was the only senator who voted aye on that legislation. But it failed in committee because under a looser interpretation of our excusal policy, 2 of her absences could have been excused under unforeseen circumstances. But as the Arts Center has reiterated, this is not unforeseen circumstances, this is simply a class conflict.
Yeah, I'm gonna back Liam up on this. The legislation was crafted by the Rules Committee, so my understanding is that it doesn't have to go to Rules Committee. It could have been voted on during that Senate meeting. It was my understanding that it was the general consensus of the Senate that that senator not be dismissed, and that's why it was committed to rules to die in. It wasn't that Rules Committee chose not to dismiss that senator. It's that the Senate chose not to dismiss that senator and give them a second chance. That's what actually happened. So Rules Committee did not fail to do their constitutional duty. We chose not to uphold the bylaws.
I think as far as I could recall, I think Senator Navalny actually motioned to call into question that legislation on that Senate meeting. But I think the rules chair said that it was the wrong motion to call into question, but we should commit it to rules first. That was what I recall, and that's why we committed it to rules.
So that was, let me pull up the legislation because it might have been, if that is correct, and my memory's a little foggy that far back, it might have been that there was one member in rules who did not sign on as a second, and that's why we had to go back to rules.
Okay, so, hold up. Before anything goes forward, regardless of whatever happened, how it got moved to rules, the first time it is read, that is a general consensus, and everybody got a chance to debate it. The general consensus of the Senate was pretty much how it was going to go. So the Rules Committee, whether it was committed after or before, it's irrelevant. They basically did what they saw in the Senate would happen if it was reintroduced. Yes, it was committed to rules and the rules followed. But what is to say that if it didn't fail rules, it would go to the Senate and it wouldn't fail on the Senate floor?
So I can actually clarify. So not all members of rules did sign on as a second for that legislation, thus it had to go to this committee.
Yeah. And we are getting off topic with the whole who said.
Oh.
Senator Salvo?
So, point of information, so, like, how many of those unexcused absences are half absences? Or are they all, like, correcting them? Because according to the site, he has 7 unexcused absences this quarter. So are any of those half absences? Or does he really have 7 unexcused?
Some of them.
Yeah.
He has 7 unexcused and 5 half absences, and the senator has only been present for 1 full Senate meeting as president since the beginning of the quarter.
So, in my opinion, that's very different from the previous legislation where that senator was present a lot more.
Any more discussion on this? Julie?
I think the senator in question had walked in with the, do you want to say anything on this matter?
I didn't know I had 7 unexcused absences. I thought maybe at max I had 3 or 4. I'm pretty sure I've come. I thought I came in more times because I can count on my fingers how many times I didn't come in. But I'll trust Secretary. Anyhow, I understand it's unexcusable to be absent so many times, especially since we passed legislation that basically is about senator absences. Can't really say. I don't want you to excuse those absences. I just want you to understand my situation right now. I have a math discussion from 5 to 6, and this is my last chance to pass it. And basically, I stay afterwards and discuss with my TA. So I'm not, well, I won't go too deep personally. But anyhow, I stay usually afterwards, and that's usually what causes my absences.
Julie?
I have a quick question for the senator. What is there, your schedule for next year, or next quarter, and see if it's open, and 2,
Excuse me, Julie, what that time has expired.
motion to extend time by 5 minutes.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to extend time by 5 minutes. Are there any objection? Seeing none, time is extended by 5 minutes. You can go ahead.
If you do have time, but let's say you do get dismissed and applications come out, would you apply?
Well, sorry,
So, let's say you do get dismissed and the application for art center come out, would you apply knowing that you would be free from this reporter?
yeah, I would.
And I'm just wondering, like, so far, like, as the art senator, what initiatives have you taken?
Well, I'll say, I'll be very open about this. My dean is not very, responsive. So I've been trying to reach anything from the dean and just to discuss, because really I just came in here to dispute that whole, practice room ordeal, which I think is ridiculous, especially since the culprit that basically caused that whole thing was caught, and really no response. I emailed them and called them a lot, but so far no real update.
Okay,
I just want to talk about his attendance. So I notice when he comes in, because he's a part of my committee, and he does come as often as, not as often as, no, comes more often than you think he does. He sneaks in, and most of the times when he does come in, he's not marked here, so that becomes an excused absence, but he is here. Yeah, probably like in one hand I can count how many times he hasn't been here completely. So
and the only way we can check that is through the live stream.
yeah,
Um,
if someone wants to go through and do it, because I just want to point that out, because sometimes when he comes in, for the most part, we're at committee breakouts, and he kind of,
it won't be that
he's
big.
just, yeah. So I don't know.
I mean, what we can do is we can check like 6, because we totally start till 6. We start at 6, usually an hour in, and then we see until the end of the meeting. And those would be half absences,
Yeah.
but
I just want to reiterate that the Rules Committee does go off of the official record, so if there are any discrepancies on the record, we go off of what's on the record. So if there is something that does need to be corrected, we do also, in the emails that I do send out to senators who have reached the threshold, I do also tell them if there's any error, please let me know, and I can look into it. But, you know, I can only go off of the record because, you know, I can't go off my memory, because my memory's not that good.
Senator Quintas?
So, you can double check the record, but my question is, if he has 7 unexcused absences, his third unexcused absence would have been January 24th, where 1 month after that. So what discussion took place that rules shows not to create a dismissal legislation following the third unexcused absence?
So originally, the first time that I reached out to the art senator, he told me that some of these unexcused should have been half absences. I then talked to the Senate president. He told me he would look into it, and so we waited. But then once we hit 4 unexcused absences, we saw that this was a trend that was going on, and that it was likely not the case, that there were errors in the record.
But, I mean, I'll sit down on the computer and look, if that's what the Senate wishes. I mean, I don't want it to continue.
Can that count as a record?
What do you mean
If
as a
we-
record?
Like, if it's caught on camera that he's here
Well, yeah,
more
he's
times,
here.
that, even though it's not like officially written down on the.
Well, I mean, the only issue with that is if you're late, you're supposed to let the secretary know
Mhm.
for a half absence. So it isn't really like my duty to look for you, like if you're late, you have to go to the secretary and be like, hey, I'm late. And this is public and everyone knows that these exist. So if there's a discrepancy, like many of you do message me when there's a discrepancy in attendance, many of you do send me messages. That's why I'm like, okay, if there's a discrepancy, how come like no one's ever told me, or I haven't been reached out before? Lincoln.
I'll say this, I definitely do have more than 3 absences unexcused, so I don't think, I wouldn't force you to
With that, time has expired. Are there any?
Extend time by 5 minutes?
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to extend time by 5 minutes. Are there any objections? Seeing none, time is extended by 5 minutes. Right.
I do acknowledge that I have more than 3. I don't know if I have 7, but, you know, if, I don't know if it helped my case in any way, if you checked and see if I had 7 really. But, yeah, just to let you know that I do acknowledge that. There's been more than 3, so.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I just reread the bylaw amendment we made a few weeks ago on, that defines absences. It says here in part 4, subpart of subsection 3, it says, basically part 4 says, a senator could be excused if for a class that meets during the same time as Senate, and in the part 3 it says, if the person like gets outside written approval from an academic counselor or pro staff that this is required to graduate on time and provide for rules committee. So Lincoln said that his situation was that he needs this class to graduate and this is his last chance. If he gets a written approval from either pro staff or an academic counselor, will he meet this criteria?
Yes, so if he does have, if he can prove that this is a class that is required and he would not be able to take it at any other time, because this is either the only time that's offered, and it's the only quarter that it's offered, or it's a series, then yes, it would be excused, but there are narrow requirements that you would have to go to meet this requirement. Like, again, it would have to be a required class. It has to be either, once a quarter or a series. And he would have to provide the aforementioned written approval.
Were there other discussion times available when you signed up for the course?
There was, and I was waitlisted, but the waitlist closed they would close after 2 weeks. So I was, like 8 in line, and it was closed.
Go ahead, Julie.
Do you think you would be able to get the note from the counselor?
I think so. Do the requirements have to be all 3 or just, or?
Or.
Or.
Wait.
No,
Academic counselor or pro staff?
Yeah, those 3 are just exceptions that you can take a class if it fits these 3 criteria. One of these 3 criteria.
Should we postpone this legislation until we can provide us with a notice from the council?
Actually, if I can comment, it might be more helpful to commit this to rules, since you would have to deliver the proof to rules for, so that rules can decide then whether to count the proof and then move forward, or just kill it in committee.
Senator